It's like a Polaroid love 살아촌 쓰던 그 감정 근데 내 가슴이 뛰어 when I 이래 날
The COVID-19 pandemic has erupted into a global economic and labor market disaster that has harmed millions of employees and business. While the effect on jobs has been well documented, the impact on pay is less well understood. What was the impact of the epidemic on workers' pay? What important steps have government and social partners done to ensure the employees' salaries are protected? What happened to minimum wages before and during the financial crisis? While individual and national experience differed, the general tendency before to the crisis was for real average wages to grow rapidly in several low and middle income countries while expanding much more slowly in high income countries. Wages grow largest behind labor productivity grow in high income nations, resulting in a global drop in the labor income share, the share of GDP going to wages.
Okay, next I will present about types of payment structure. Payment is conditional of meeting particular target which have been pre-decided and communicated to employers at the place. Employers must be competitive in order to recruit, retain and reward employees by offering a variety of remuneration options. Compensation of pay package is an agreed open amount of reward paid to employers in exchange of their effort. Employers are paid in a variety of ways, including basic pay, wage or salary, benefit and incentive. Firstly, the types of payment are basic pay. Basic pay is the fundamental payment that employees receive, which is typically in the form of pay or salary, which are defined as payment provided to employers on a time basis or basis payment. Meanwhile, salary are regular payment provided to employers for a certain period of time regardless of the number of hour performance. Secondly, the types of payment are benefits. Benefits are an indirect form of compensation given to employers for their participation in the firm, regardless of their performance. Benefits can be both financial and non-financial, and they can be both mandatory and elective. APF, also health insurance, vacation pay, and so on are examples of benefits. Thirdly, the types of payment are incentive. Incentives are reward given to employers or group of employers whom the employer believe are deserving. The goal of an incentive scheme is to affect behavior in order to achieve the goal by providing an incentive to work toward them. Employers that perform well in their employment are offering incentives and rewards which are used to motivate them to achieve high level of performance.
Besides the advantages and disadvantages workers' wages during pandemic COVID-19, I will explain about the disadvantages and my friend Fatin Aidatu Amira explain about the advantages.
Next, I will explain about advantages is unexpected gain need for employees, incentive for part-time employment and free subsidies, reduce economies illegal, and safeguard employees against unjust illegal or irregular employment. And lastly, liquidity support for firms. First, unexpected gain need for employees is COVID-19 has rendered many professionals unable to care for their families. Due to the economic disruption of school and childcare facilities, many families have had to increase their caregiving hours. In case when just one parent works remotely, this is very important. Lack of time for job and home life is commonly blamed by errant parents. Since the need for parents to work had a hardly time without childcare resources. Next, incentive for part-time employment and pay subsidy is several certificates and G20 nations that had established job retention programs to keep less layoff under control CRS. Their goal is to save for jobs by temporarily cutting labor costs, which are a large part of operating costs, particularly in the service sector, which has been heavily impacted by the crisis, while also providing income help to workers. Besides, reduce economic dismissal and safeguard employees against unjust dismissal or irregular employment is the financial pieces effective, collective, and individual dismissal. Economic dismissal restriction means with an extensive employment detention program means no economic recovery. Regular status for migrant and refugee employee exclusion is not clear if certain nations have previously renewed migrant working license or amnesty. Lastly, liquidity support for poor is, as a result, several determined nations have enacted emergency steps to help beyond the central bank monetary activity. Government is accompanying in settling debt, subsidy, loan guarantee, and tax benefits that enterprise employ. Some countries decide to share profit or losses. Prior subsidy, worker retention payment, grant, and equitable participation were all included. Indirect methods included postponing tax and social security payment or even stopping loan repayment.
The disadvantages workers' wages during pandemic COVID-19 have 5. First is cost money. Second is only available few choices to certain employee. Third is the cost benefit are not static. Fourth is there can be issue with legal compliance. And the last one is mistakes in employee benefits can lead to litigation. So now I will explain more details about the 5 main points that I just talked about. First is cost money. The average set of employee benefits today is sort of same to the amount paid out in income. This is a stage of cost that have to be efficaciously managed, especially in view that many employees don't see a gain as part of their income package deal. Second is only available few choices for certain employee. Small businesses are especially constrained inside the sort of worker blessings they'll be capable of provide. This is because better advantages, especially retirement or pension plans, normally have higher administrative expenses that the small commercial enterprise might not be capable of come up with the money for. Third is the cost of benefit are not static. This is especially authentic for employers who are supplying complete health insurance advantage. The upward thrust in price of medical insurance has been consistent and rapid. Because of this blessing, both cut or extra fees are paid for to hold the present day advantage package. Even with the Affordable Care Act in place, this is nonetheless makes it hard to finance expenses on an annual foundation. Fourth is the can be issues with legal compliance. Certain advantages need to be supplied to personnel in particular way. In order to make sure a commercial enterprise is compliant with those conditions, legal charges must be paid out to affirm that the entirety is being furnished legally. Is every other delivered price that many personnel doesn't recognize exists as a way to offer them with the advantages they want. And the last one is mistakes in employee benefits can lead to litigation. If a business makes a mistake in presenting an employee with promised benefits, then there is a super risk that they could sue. There can also be regulatory fines involved with this sort of mistake. Plus, there can be additional legal expenses to pay further to the value of the gain with a view to still want to be furnished.
Now, let's move on to impact of wages during COVID-19. As the infection spread all over the world, so did its economic repercussions. Workplaces were shut, enterprises were closed down, and a large number of laborers lost all of 5 of their earnings for weeks or months. So the size of its impact is confirmed by the SS 12.1% loss in working hours around the world, identical to 345 million full-time jobs for the third quarter of 2020, in contrast with the fourth quarter of 2000. Other than that, the 10.7% decrease in global labor wages, equivalent to US 3.5 trillion, has been assessed for the period covering the first 3 quarters of 2020 in correlation with a similar time of 2019. Laborers in the informal economy enrolled especially severely. It is assessed that 1.6 million informal economy laborers, 76% of world informal employment, experienced critical effects from the emergency. There is plentiful contextual analysis proof of laborers tolerating to some extent for a brief time more limited hours or potentially wage cuts. As per Adams, among respondents in the sample who actually had a paid occupation, toward the beginning of April, 35% of United States, 30% of United Kingdom, and 20% Germany detail having had lower profit in March. than in January and February. Yearly information from public factual workplaces show that around two-thirds of nations for which short-term statistics are excessively show diminishing wages or slower average wage growth, while in other nations normal wages took a surprising jump in the statistic, mostly mirroring a structural impact because of the deficiency of lower paying jobs.
Okay, for the next slide, I will present about conclusion. In conclusion, the COVID-19 pandemic has turned into an unprecedented global economic and labor market disaster, affecting millions of people and business. Many countries are experiencing total lockdown during this time, especially in Malaysia. One of the effects during a pandemic is that employers pay lower wage than the original wage to their employers because the company has no profit and no income during the pandemic. As we know, wages are very important for workers to make a living from their labor. There are three types of wages that include basic pay, benefit, and incentive. Every company must take responsibility for their worker and give wages during that time to make sure their employees can survive. Wages also provide benefit to make the worker and also make employees feel motivated to do a good job. During a pandemic, wages also have an effect on the employers. Employer must take action regarding this issue to achieve the goal and objective of the company.